Welcome back to another IPS Film Room. And today, as you can tell by the headline, we are discussing Darrion Williams, what all he provides on the offensive end of the court. Before we get started here, I'd like to remind you all, please subscribe to the channel at Inside Pack Sports. We're going to continue to be cranking out content like this throughout the summer, leading into the season. We're going to hit on football as well. I've got my guy, Jake McSwain, with me to look at Darrion's film. And Jake, before we get into it, I want to talk a little bit about Darion because this is a player who NC State made major headlines when they landed him. And when he committed, I looked at the All ACC teams from last year, the final teams, and the top two teams in the ACC, so the top 10 players, only one player is returning this year. That's Notre Dame point guard Marcus Burton. And so when you look at Darrion Williams, a player who started his career at San Diego State, was Mountain West Conference Freshman of the Year, transferred to Texas Tech. As a sophomore, he was third team All Big 12. As a junior, he was first team All Big 12, led that team to the Elite Eight last year. Is it safe to say this is the most accomplished returning player in the ACC and maybe should be preseason player of the year?
Yeah, for me, I think that makes a ton of sense. Like when you look at the careers of the guys that are in the ACC next year, Darrion Williams, just, I mean, objectively has the better numbers over the course of a longer period of time than most of those guys do. So for me, if I'm cast a vote, I just don't see how you leave him off of a preseason first for all ACC type of team. And really, for me, it's like, well, he's got to be the front runner for player of the year as well because there's not a Cooper Flag coming into the ACC next year. Like there's some really, really good first year players, but there's no one that's kind of that level of talent. So for me, I would think he's got to be a lock.
Will Wade tabbed him their number one player in the transfer portal based on their metric system. We know they are very numbers driven, stats driven. And we're going to talk a lot about some of these analytics here in this film room. So I'm sure you probably know kind of where he's coming from on this. But for you, still, did it surprise you that he viewed him as the number one player in the portal? Because there were some really, really talented players in the portal this year.
Yeah, I think on its face, that's a little surprising because he's not the flashiest player. He does things well, but from a highlight tape, it's not like a PJ Haggerty who State also
Mm-hmm.
pursued, who just like is doing crazy things with the ball in his hands. But he does do like you start digging into the stats and the amount of areas of that team he impacted and what he did for them offensively, which is what we're going to talk about today and watch some film on. I mean, I don't know that there's many guys that can impact the game on all those levels like he can.
Yeah, let's jump into it. Let's jump into the film here. Darrion Williams, I'll turn it over to you. We're going to get into the tape, look at some different shots, all kinds of stuff on the offensive end.
Yeah, so as we switch over to the film, you're going to see percentages next to kind of the role that he's playing. And I want to be clear what that is. So that's the percent of time or possessions that he was on the court and when he acted in that role. So starting off, I want to talk about his spot up shooting because he's really comfortable operating on the perimeter. And as you watch this and as we start going through this film, watch how he operates on the perimeter because that's what stood out to me the most. He's somebody who moves well without the ball. Like he has a really good release first and foremost, but as you watch him, even on a clip like this, what you see with a lot of bigs is they'll just be spacing the floor and they stay in one spot. Like they're going to sit in the
Mm-hmm.
corner and that's their job, but that's not Darrion Williams. Like he's able to see what's happening on the court and start to slide over. And you'll see when he does that, it just creates that much more space. Like right there, if he had stayed where he was originally at the top of the key, like that's a way easier recovery for his man. But I think he had a down year shooting last year, James. Like, and then that's what it is. But I think when you're NC State, you can still watch the film, see that he's a capable jump shooter. But then also, like, he does so many other things that if he's still not even a slightly above average shooter, he can still do so much for you well.
Yeah, and part of me, I was trying to pull up his usage rates from the previous year. I wonder if some of the shooting drop was due to just being more on the ball and maybe just physically. Yeah, as a sophomore at Texas Tech, his usage rate was 17.6%. That jumped up to 26.9% as a junior. And so maybe, I don't know, fatigue, right? Like, was he used a little more to where potentially that could impact his shooting? Where is he getting less of those opportunities? It could be different factors there. But I think, and which I think is encouraging because what I like most about his spot up, and 20% of the time that's what he's doing, is he is lineup proof. Like, this isn't a guy where he has to play a specific role. And if you bring Darrion Williams in, for instance, and you're not using him as a playmaker, he can't help you. Or if you're not
Mm-hmm.
posting him up, he can't help you. No, if you want to run ISO with Allen Breed or ball screen with Trey Holloman and Paul Mbaya, you can do that and let him space away and put him in the corner, let him move and do different things like that as a spot up shooter and still give you production, right? Pairing him with Jerry Ding. Like, what if you have both of those guys working as floor spacers and you
Yeah.
kicked him to the three and you've got Paul and Byer, right? Like, there's so much versatility there to where I'm not worried about the shooting percentage. I think that might have been a product of just his usage being ramped up and maybe just fatigue. Maybe he's just, had an off year shooting, but he can do that. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you talked about the release when we're watching it here as you roll through the highlights of him shooting the basketball. I mean, the shot just looks clean, right? It
Yeah.
looks so clean.
Very repeatable jump shot. Like, it's something where he doesn't do a ton off. You saw a little bit off the dribble right there, and he doesn't do a ton of that. Like, it's not something where he is really working to get his a 3-point shot off of the dribble, but he can definitely catch the ball, keep it high, and knock it down. So, I mean, what do you think when you're looking at his release? I mean, you said it looks pretty clean to you. I tend to agree.
I mean, I think he looks like a shooter. Like, the thing about it is not even just how clean it is. It's how fast he can get it off. Like, there were a couple of these we've been watching here where as soon as he's catching it, even with the contest, he's getting the shot off, and it looks just great, right? He's a shooter. Like, that's the thing, is he's not a guy who shoots a good percentage. When I look at him, I see a guy who's a shooter,
Mm-hmm.
and that is valuable. And for other teams, like I said, that's scary. I mean, you're watching it here in this clip against Florida where they're using high ball screen.
Yeah.
And, you've just got him spaced away, and you're able to now let him, I mean, help comes, and, like, he's able to get that shot off, and so
That's a big dude
yeah,
closing out on him. I mean,
yeah, that's a
like,
7-footer.
and that's a tough look. But I mean, that's the type of shots he took pretty consistently. But when he's wide open too, it's like he's a mix of taking his time versus rushing to get the shot off. And one thing I'm gonna say is I don't this this court shows up like 4 or 5 times throughout the film.
Right.
I couldn't imagine playing on that. Like, that is or watching a full game with that as my backdrop. But
Yeah, yeah,
he's a
that's
clean shooter. And again, like, and the more we talk about this, hopefully the more some of these concerns get alleviated. But he does so much, and you'll see the other ways that he impacts a game. That if he's not a great shooter, it doesn't matter. Like, I mean, it does to the extent that you'd love for him to be more efficient or whatever. But he can impact if his shot's not falling. It's not like, well, he's out of the game. Like, you think of Dontrez Styles last year, where it's like if his shot wouldn't fall, and sometimes it was hard for him to really get going or impact the game. But for Darrion Williams, like, you're fine. He can do so much more. But he
no, I
again,
mean, you look at
yeah. Go
yeah.
ahead.
I was just gonna say, you look at his numbers, he took 143s last year, shot 34%. I mean, that's not
No.
terrible on that volume. He also got to the line 110 times,
Mm-hmm.
right? So, I mean, that's where you're talking about adding it in. I mean, that's almost, 5 free throw attempts per game. So he's getting to the line, shot 84% there. Like, when I watch the spot up stuff, you see a floor of Dontrez Styles.
Yeah.
Right, that's the thing that's interesting, is like it feels like you're watching some tape we saw from Styles last year where you can let him be a floor. Like, if that's your floor you're getting from him at the 4 position, that's great. Now we can turn it into other stuff that makes him even more. And again, when you talk value, it's because his floor is so freaking high.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
there's no bust rate with this guy.
Mm-mm.
Right?
The,
There's just
the
no.
floor is a good Dontrez is a good night
Yeah,
Dontrez Styles. Like, I
yeah.
mean, not even just like a full season. And so when you start getting excited is when we start switching gears now and looking at he also posted guys up about 20% of the time. And you're going to see some, like, his post ups aren't like he's trying to work on the low block and get position. He does that sometimes, but he's got some DJ Burns to him.
Hmm.
And as we start rolling this film, you'll see what I mean, because he's catching the ball by the perimeter. Sometimes he'll start facing up and he'll just get a guy on his hip, and he's stronger and a little more athletic than a lot of these guys guarding him. And he can work and finish over his shoulder. He has really good touch. I mean, like, that's what DJ Burns would try to do. Like, you're looking at This is probably one of the deeper post-ups you'll see him starting the ball with. And he's 3 steps off the lane, really taking his time. And that's a little thing too. So when you watch him post up, a lot of guys and a lot of bigs, particularly at the college level, are so just reliant on one hand. I'm going to back it up even more here and go to that last clip because it'll show you what I mean. Is he is right in this clip right here, he sets this man up and he just goes to the middle and a little right shoulder or left shoulder, right hand finish, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you go to this next one, and they've seen the scouting report. They know kind of what he can do, and they're really denying hard on that side. So when he gets him to bite and seal, he spins back, can use his left, still go around some people. Like, that's good. So you'll see a mix of both. But again, right back to left shoulder. You know what I mean? Then right back to the right back to the drop step. Like, it's
yeah.
For me, it's being able to keep those guys off balance, and also, I don't know about what your thoughts are on this, but I think what makes DJ Burns so effective as well, and what's going to help Darrion Williams is guys aren't used to someone posting them up that far out.
No.
Like, they don't know what to do. Like, I mean, they don't really know. You can't just deny one side because you're so far out from the basket that you can still spin off and go back to the middle. It's hard.
Well, I think you're not used to guys posting you up at all anymore, right? and because of that, and I think because of that, your defense suffers from it. Like, how much time do you think teams spend on post defense?
Very little. I mean, like, outside of like very basic rules of like, hey, this guy wants to go middle every time, you know, like, but it's hard.
But in terms of repping it in practice,
yeah,
you don't rep a lot. Most teams are using their 5s or their 4s as ball screen guys or pick and pop guys.
Mm-hmm.
You know, rim run or pick and pop. So you're spending more time on those coverages versus post defense. And so when you do get in a position to play post defense, you're not used to it. And it's also the other element to this, which I'm sure we'll probably see on here, is his passing ability out of the post, to where I'm sure folks are watching this, Jake, saying, well, why aren't you sending help? Well, if you send help, he's going to pass the ball, and now you're in a whole nother now you're facing a whole nother problem as a defense. And so I think his post up ability is what takes him to another level.
Oh,
because
absolutely.
Not only can he post up and do what we're seeing here and score, he's also now, this is where he really gets into that getting my 3, 4, 5 assists facilitating thing a game. And it's initiating offense, man. It's tough.
Oh yeah. And we'll get to that, but sticking with the post up vibes here, like, I wish I could start some of these clips earlier, but for time's sake, I have to shorten them.
Yeah.
But I mean, a lot of times he has the ball face up on the perimeter. He does a couple dribble moves to get him off balance, and he's just turning them. And he's turning his back, and he starts working down them. Like, it's really interesting to see. And just, like, even when they send help, he's still got enough finesse to really make things happen. And, like, he's patient. And that's so hard to teach, and guys just don't really have that skill. Like, here's a rare occasion where he's catching the ball on the block, and I think you'll notice this as we go more into, like, the clips of him passing the ball, or the clips of him acting as a roll man, or like they played the switch game with him really well last year. And at the college game, and the NBA as well, you get a ton of switches, and he's smart with how he attacks that. So, like, a situation like this, he probably got switched off on by a smaller defender, and then just realizes, okay, now I can sit down. Or if he gets a bigger guy on him, then he'll start working the perimeter more. But he's just overall really skilled as a post player, and that's something that I didn't know was such a big part of his game until I started diving into the stats and the film, just because I didn't watch that much Texas Tech last year.
No, I thought back to folks will remember NC State faced him in the NCAA tournament 2 years ago. And we did some scouting report stuff on them. I know you did. And what we talked about with him was really, you can't leave him as a 3-point shooter. I mean, that was the year he shot 40. Yeah. And so the whole scouting report was, this is their shooter. And so when State ramped up their coverage or their interest in him here, I was just thinking, okay, you're adding a stretch 4. I didn't know all the different aspects to his game. And you're right. I mean, it looks like we're going to see some more here with him as a pick and roll ball handler.
Yeah, that's the next part of this is, you know, he can initiate a ton. And we're still talking about him just as a scorer, and we're not even touching his passing ability. But you start looking at how they attack different coverages. So In this clip, like if you sag off of him, like this is what's called drop coverage, and it's big on big too, which is another thing that's not like
Mm-hmm.
when you drill ball screen defense, it is not exclusively, but damn close to exclusively a guard getting a screen from a big. And then when you put it into a
Mm-hmm.
big, it's tough because they're playing drop coverage, and he's like, okay, I'll just thanks for the 2 points. I'll just shoot a free throw, which I'm very comfortable doing. If a guy fights through and he's not getting much help, like right here, then okay, like you've given me enough space to where I can eat that up, throw you in the post, and do something with it. Like big guys don't know how to like chase very well, because I'll go on a little diatribe on ball screen defenses. You have a few different options. So as if you're guarding a guy who's receiving a screen, you can chase it going over the top, which is you have to be athletic to be able to beat him to the spot after that. You can go underneath it, which obviously gives up a jump shot, or you can ice it. A big, they haven't repped it enough. They don't really know
Mm-hmm.
what they're supposed to be doing when you just throw them in these positions 4 or 5 times a game. Like they can maybe adjust and get away with it, but it's just really hard. So when he's getting guarded by a big, which is what they're going to have to do, otherwise he'll probably abuse a guard in the post, it becomes really difficult. So hopping back into the film, like you'll see that like right there's a great example. This guy is trying to chase. He's nowhere near quick enough to get there, and it's an easy layup. It's a free layup at that point. There, if you wanted to try to underneath or over top on a guard, he's stronger than they are. So when he gets to the lane, he's already shielded them off, and it's an easy layup. I mean, it's a game of what do you want to take away from him as a defense, and he's really good at exploiting that and making sure that he gets the right shot.
What we're seeing is a player feasting on uncomfortable defense.
Mm-hmm.
Right? We've talked about it. If he's playing a four for you, how often, Jake, do you think a college four man is getting posted up?
Rarely. I mean, maybe 15% of the time, and that's being
Right,
probably generous.
rarely, right? And then you say, okay, well, how often is a college four man being asked to play pick and roll ball handler on the ball defense?
Even less so. Less
Yeah,
than that, yeah.
yeah. And what if people want an example of what we're referring to here? Think about if NC State said, Mo Diarra, go run ball screen with the ball.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Like you're never seeing that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, even last year, Dontrez Styles was a guard. Well, was a guy who you could think you could do. The State never did it with Dontrez Styles.
No.
You didn't play him as a pick and roll ball handler. I mean, that's what you do typically for your guards. And so what you're doing is you're taking advantage of an uncomfortable defender because
Mm-hmm.
you've got him now out of his element. I mean, folks say like, you equate it to football, right? I mean, it's no different than going against the Army triple option that week.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you can practice it, but you never see it, so you're uncomfortable as a defender. And I think what makes Williams, again, to continue to add to it, this is another part that just makes him so unique as a player is he can attack uncomfortable coverage in a variety of ways,
Yeah.
and it's a major positive for him.
Oh yeah. And I mean, and just continuing on with this, I mean, it's hitting the three. You want to play off of me? Like that's the other option here. Is like this is even a little bit after a screen, and they've probably, I mean, back it up and see what exactly happened here. But you want to go, okay, so this guy's going underneath the screen here.
On the screen.
And he's going to back up because he's scared of the quickness that Williams has. And so, okay, I'll take the three. Easy shot, easy decision. They're like, again, going over the top. He can't get to the middle. Like we talk about beating guys to the spot, and I don't want to get too breakdown here, but like as a guard's job, your job is to beat him to the nail on the free throw line. And so when he's coming over there, he doesn't get there in time. The big's kind of in drop coverage, has to help on that roll man, tag him, and it's an easy, wide open look. I wish I had more of that possession. And I'm sorry to cut you off. He uses this screen on this possession 3 to 4 times, I'd say, where he's going back one way, they turn and rescreen, go the other way, and he just is patient and gets to his spot. But what were you going to say, James?
Well, this is what I mean when I say he's a shooter, man. It's like these are not easy mid-range jump shots.
Mm-mm.
I mean, like a lot of these are 3, 4, 5 dribble pull-ups, and you may not consider them quote unquote good shots, right? I'm sure you know a lot of analytics folks, they'll talk
Yeah.
about mid-range jumpers and if they're good shots. But when you're a scorer like this guy is, you're just letting him play his game.
Yeah.
And I think that's where, as a coach, you have to have some freedom, even with numbers. Like we've talked about State being numbers driven. Well, with a player like Darrion Williams, you give him the freedom to take that shot
Yeah.
because that's a part of his game. And he has just such a good feel for getting to his spots. I mean, you see it as a pick and roll ball
Yeah.
handler. He's consistently getting to his spots to create a shot. And that's
Yeah.
what offense is.
Yeah, and mid-range is in a vacuum, they're inefficient shots, right? In the grand scheme of things and how they're viewed statistically. But from a defender who's watched tape on you's perspective, the mid-range shot's important because it just keeps them honest throughout the process of you having the ball in your hand, right? So like they know that it's a threat to where if they sag off or they get lazy and don't beat you to the spot, then you can pull up and hit that shot. And so it changes how they defend you. So they might press up on you even more, and then you can blow by them and get to the basket. It's just something that is helpful, right? So watch the last few of him as a pick and roll ball handler here. I was impressed by his strength. Like he's able to get into guys that are bigger than him and just blow through them. And he has the touch to finish some of these shots around the rim because he's not an explosive leaper, right? Like he's not someone that's gonna go through you and dunk on you, but he's crafty is probably the best way of putting it.
No, he's built like a football player, though.
Yeah.
I mean, he's six
Stout.
five and a half, 6'6", 240 pounds. I mean, he's physically moving people.
Yeah. So just a quick recap before we get into the next section here. We've talked about him as a spot up shooter. It was there 20% of the time. So about one out of every 5 possessions, he's shooting a spot up jump shot. We've talked about him as a post up about 20% of the time. So 1 in 5 times he's posting you up. So he can hit a 3 on you 1 possession, post you up the next possession. On the 3rd possession, have the ball in his hands and get a screen and do something. And then there's a bunch of other areas, but the next one that I wanted to focus on, it was interesting because it's the exact opposite of him being the ball handler. So you've put him in a couple possessions in a row, you've had the ball and he's guarding you as a ball handler coming off of a screen. And then you flip it and now I'm going to be the role player, right? And you'll see through the film here that he can do it in a couple of different ways. So the first couple of times is just little blur screens where he's popping out. So he pops out. And, I mean, that's hard to do. And you're going to have capable guys with the ball in their hands coming off of that screen. And then the next time, I'm going to short roll you, catch it, and then bully you to the basket. Then the next time, I'll pop out. And that's called a blur screen for folks that might not know. It's kind of like a slip when you're slipping to the basket, but you're just rolling through. You're just running through there, and if the defender bites, then you can get a drive, but he's going to get a lot of open threes that way. But as a roll man, he presents a tough challenge because he's versatile off of that too. Like he can pop out, he can roll to the basket. He's going to get a lot of open looks if State's guards can make a play here.
Oh, I mean, this is stealing. I mean, use him as a pick and pop, pick and roll man. I mean, this is where you're stealing, I think, offensively because look at the space he's creating. I mean, because first of all, he's a big guy who can set good screens for you. And you're now doing a 1-4 ball screen a lot of times or a 2-4 ball screen. So again, it may seem odd, but a lot of times 4 men aren't comfortable in ball screens either. That's typically a 1-5 action, right? That's typically that type of an action you're doing. And your 4 is typically, for most teams, your tag guy.
Yeah.
Right? Like your 4 is typically sagging and tagging. So now you've got him involved in ball screen action. And man, him coming off a ball screen, or you call it a blur, ghost screen, whatever you want to call it, and he's getting that type of space.
I mean, look at that. That is a mile of space and time. So at the end, even if it looks like a close contest at the end, like he had so much time to set up for that. Like, and then if you like, this is like an example of if you talk about an Allen Breed or a Holloman coming off of a ball screen and getting like why paint touches are so important. Like you watch this and just as a guard right here, you have like just 2 wide open options. This guy makes the right read, but that corner is wide open too. I mean, here you go. Darrion Williams, that's a wide open look. And that's why spacing is so important. Like that's another one, like he's going to roll. You see him a lot of times like kind of blurring and rolling back out to the top, but that's more your classic, just, make him overcommit to one side and go the other way. really good at reading where the open space is and knowing how much time he has when he catches the ball. But
Yeah,
yeah.
and because of his off the dribble game, those don't have to be shots either.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like that's the other thing is a lot of times for guys like him that you use as pick and pop players, you go back to like for instance, remember when State brought in Pat Andre
Yeah.
as a kind of a stretch four, pick and pop four, or even when they used Omer Yurtseven in that role,
Yeah.
his first year in the Keats, you had nothing off the dribble though. It was if you didn't have it, he'd probably reset it or kick it back out. Well, with Darrion Williams, if you get a good closeout, well, now he's attacking a closeout
Mm-hmm.
and he can score, he can pass. He's so good he's so comfortable as a handler that you're still getting offense out of it. And so I was surprised when you posted those numbers that he was used 9% of the time as a roll man because I don't know. I feel like that's with his shooting ability and his driving ability, that's almost like stealing offense there.
Yeah, it would stress me out completely as a big
Yeah.
having to guard that because it's just you can't close out too aggressively. You can't give him too much space. You're in a lose situation. It makes it just really difficult to play good offense. So again, we'll recap. So now we've just at this point we've talked about him exclusively as a scorer and how he gets to the basket, how he can shoot the ball, operate off of a pick and roll, and get to a spot where he can get a good look off. And he's at least average in all of those areas when you compare him to the entire population pool of NCAA college basketball players. As a big, I would say he's way above average in all those categories as someone that plays a big for you.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, but now we start shifting gears and let's talk about him as a facilitator. And now, James, I know you've been a proponent and had his assist rate pulled up and it's really good and we like that. But when we look at it in action and what that actually looks like for him, I think you'll see some of it's easy passes like that. Like he's a fundamental passer, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Like this is something that you're gonna watch on film and be like, oh, that's oh, that's nothing. Like it's just an easy look into the post, but like that's not that. Guys get that pass stolen all the time when they're just like having to throw that reach around dump pass. But he's able to get his man like the ball in a position where he can score it, right? And then you look at him as a driver. This is uncomfortable. Like you have especially when you have a big on him, like in this situation right here, he's got a big guarding him. You don't want to get beat middle, but sometimes you can't help it. And 25 at the top of the screen on defense has to be really aware of what's happening. So Williams is real smart, takes a couple dribbles right at the defender, makes him commit to him and help. Just easy kick back out to the top for a pretty wide open look.
But again, even that's not easy. That's an off the dribble, one-handed pass
Yeah.
right into the shooting pocket.
Yeah.
Right, like right into your guy's shooting pocket.
Yeah, he's not like a flashy passer, but like I love plays like this where he's leading the fast break. He's gonna have the ball in his hands a lot. He rebounds the ball well on defense and he crashes. But like that's a slick pass. And again, it's not even that flashy, but that is a really slick pass to get a guy a really easy look. Same thing there. Not like running full steam, throwing the ball across your body into the shooting pocket of somebody that's running the perimeter alongside of you. Like not easy.
And that's the key. People ask, well, what shooting pocket? What do you mean? Well, you're not throwing the ball at a guy's feet. I'm saying kids because I'm so used to coaching, Jake. Like, right, and I know you are too. You see it where you talk to your kids and you stress it. Hit them in their shooting pocket. Target the number on their jersey. Right, like give them a chance to catch it and release. And good passers, it's almost automatic. It's there.
Yeah.
It's there. And that's the thing I like about him is you can tell he's not throwing the ball going full speed. He's making his guy reach in different angles to grab it. It's right where they can get that shot off quickly.
Yeah, he's getting the ball in good spots. And and then you watch him like this and again you see some DJ Burns to his game. Like this is what you talked about earlier. Why don't you double? Why don't you send extra people at him? Well, here's why you don't double him. Like so right there, that's one, it's a foul, right?
Yeah.
You won't see it called that often. Two, you see a lot of college bigs freak out at this point and just lose the ball. But he's strong enough where he lowers the ball a little bit, and that's a bounce pass. Like that's not like that's hard to do. Like
again,
I mean, like
into the shooting pocket.
Like guys are gonna like most bigs are gonna try to throw this ball over the top. It's gonna be a high pass that the guy has to like adjust for. But he keeps his calm, throws a little bounce pass right into the numbers, right into the shot, right. Again, like we talked, who did we talk about that was like this? But I think it was Allen Breed where they were running plays for him as a shooter. Well, you
Yep.
can look at Darrion Williams. They're running plays for him just like that's a set look of a guy coming off of a double screen where they want the ball in Darrion Williams' hands on the wing to make that pass. Like,
Yeah.
okay, we're gonna run a double screen up action. He's gonna like that's, and I'm not gonna like glaze Darrion Williams too much here because that is a fairly easy pass, but you're still leading the guy into a shot. Like he throws the ball, like he's making that pass before he's there. If that makes sense, kind of like a quarterback in football throwing a ball to a wide receiver and leading him with the pass. You're leading him with that pass into where you know that shot's going to be coming from, right?
Yeah, we can't see because of the tag at the bottom, like what time that is in a game. In the game, it looks like it's a NCAA tournament game against
Yeah,
Arkansas. But you're right. I mean, what you're doing here, and it looks like lower 70, 60, so it's probably later in the game.
yeah.
He's your playmaker here, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
you're running an action for someone else, but he's making the read. If the big there jumps out on that and takes that away, where you've probably got a slip action built into it, right?
Yeah, you have
Where
stuff
you're
there.
looking for a cutter. Yeah. And so the key takeaway is Texas Tech's asking him to make the play. So
Mm-hmm.
the pass may look simple, but really what he's doing is he's making the read there. And again, when you're stating, you're saying we need playmakers, we need guys who can make the right read. To me, what differentiates him, I think, in some ways from Haggerty, who I just feel like Haggerty was to give the ball to him and he's going to score and create some offense for you too. It's all the different things we've showcased here,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like you've got such a better chance of loading up against a guy like Haggerty. Now, again, he's still going to get his stuff. Like I'm not
Yeah.
saying he's not. We would be talking about Haggerty in a positive way. Trust me, because he's still going to score it. But with Williams, I mean, the plethora of ways that he can attack you, it makes it. I mean, if I were NC State's coaching staff, I'd be so giddy with what you can do with him offensively,
Oh yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah, and knowing that if things break down, he's comfortable enough with the ball to like get you somewhere good without forcing something. And like there'll be moments when he presses and forces, but I think like why I like the videos of him passing the ball so much is it's just like calm. Like this was a bit of a broken play before it happened. Like he kind of loses the ball, gets in the corner, he's chasing a rebound down, I forget which one, but his eyes come up, he reads the floor, and like he sees the pass again, puts that in a
Mm-hmm.
like overhand pass. Like most of what I like about it is it's all just good ball placement.
Yeah,
Like
it's
it's
fundamental.
easy going fundamental basketball, and like he can read the defense well. Like on this play right here, he like most guys are shooting that, right? Like I mean,
Mm-hmm.
you get it, but he sees that he sees this help coming from his left side, and he has a couple options. But I mean, that's a little touch pass right down to a big who he knows is going to finish. It's an one, or he gets the ball right here on a break. He probably got it off of a rebound or something. Just a heads up, lead your man up the court. Like that was Walton, who was a really good shooter last year, and they'll finish it. You know what I mean? Like it's all fundamental stuff that I just think he does well, and it's not something you can drill into guys a lot of times. It's something that just comes with their feel for the game.
Oh, I mean, his best attributes probably his feel for the game,
Yeah,
right? Like, I
yeah,
mean, I think he's just a natural basketball player to be able to do all the different things that they ask him to do and as efficiently as he does it. That's the
yeah.
best way you can describe it. Is he's just a natural basketball player.
And again, it ties back to DJ Burns. Again, two very vastly different players from a physical standpoint, but he just takes his time. He's gonna see what the defense does,
Mm-hmm.
and then like real quick, just how fast processing has to be for guys to be able to do
Mm-hmm.
that. Like you watch him spin back baseline, he has from right here in about 0.2 of a second to see what that big's doing, make the read, and he just ditches it underhanded for the dunk. Right? That's a slick pass again of just super fundamental one, but reading back doors like you talk about guys getting lost on defense, he's going to make you pay for it. Like that's probably the only spot that ball could be in for that person to make the layup.
Offense to me starts with having willing passers,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like it starts with having My son just had an AAU basketball tournament this weekend. It didn't go well for him, and there was one team there that was really, really good, and we watched them play. And he asked me my thoughts about them afterwards, and I told him, I said, the thing about really good basketball teams, it seems simple and easy what they're doing,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like when you watch them play, it's not like they're doing anything outside of just making the right basketball play. And it looks
Mm-hmm.
almost boring at times, right? Like it looks almost boring at times because they're passing it so much and willing to just share it. And I think when you have, that's why, like for me, man, building a program, I feel like it always starts with getting that facilitator, getting that playmaker. Because if you're best, especially if he's your best player, like if your best player is a natural passer at heart, you got such a good chance, Jake, of being successful,
Yeah, and
right?
it helps you out so much. Just having that guy that you know can make the right read. You trust him to have the ball in his hands and not do something stupid with the ball. Like that's what it
Yeah.
boils down to. And limiting mistakes, right?
Hmm.
The last part, I think there's a few of these in a row, but on the film is if teams try to go zone against NC State, like Darrion Williams will make you pay for it. Either like, and usually as a coach or someone that's coaching basketball, you want someone in the middle of that zone that can be the quarterback of your zone offense and make plays and reads and can still turn and knock down that shot if it's open. And that's kind of what you'll see. Like he can catch the ball in the middle of the post and just know as soon as he sees that big commit to him, right? Like, okay, I got somebody open underneath the basket right here. And he can just make that read. You'll see it. This is against his zone, I
Yeah.
believe, right here as well. He's going to break middle on it, know kind of what his guy's doing, be able to get the ball to him in a good spot. Catch the ball in the middle of a zone, make a read, dump it down, bucket. You know what I mean? It's just something that's so simple and but so important because we've seen teams play zone against State in the past and State struggle against it, especially if the shooting's
Hmm.
not quite there. But having that threat in the middle of the court is important. But that's all the highlight. That's all the clips we had. We had a lot of them today. But curious as your thoughts overall after watching that, James.
I mean, not real surprising. You know, we looked at Williams here the last couple of weeks since he picked NC State. Like I said, when State first got on him, my thought was, okay, you're adding a stretch four,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then you start to look at his numbers, you start to look at the tape, and you're getting so much more than that. You're getting an offensive hub, I think, in Darrion Williams. You're getting the engine to an offense. I mean, that's what you're really adding. You're adding one of those rare players who, and at least I think it's rare on the college level, to where he can operate as your go-to player. He can
Mm-hmm.
operate as your go-to scorer, your facilitator, but he can also be a secondary piece. Like he can be that floor spacer if you want other people to get involved. And I just think when you talk chemistry and building a roster and building a lineup and kind of keeping everyone happy, when your best player is capable of being your star, but also being a support piece, skill wise,
Yep.
it's so great. And I think again, like I hate to keep comparing him to Haggerty, but we know that was a big discussion point, right, on our forums and everything. Those 2 or 3 weeks was, well, which of these two players and what separates them. I
Mm-hmm.
think the thing that separates Williams is the fact that I feel like he can play with anybody. Like you could take any four players on NC State's roster and put them out there with Darrion Williams, and he can make it work and he can
Yeah.
fit in.
And that's so valuable. Just him, he's like kind of that glue piece that's going to tie a lot of players together. And you talk about the positional versatility of those other folks. Like he's going to make that work because, you know, maybe like it depends. When you're putting lineups together and you're stressing out over it and you're thinking about what's going to work versus what doesn't, the question always becomes, well, if I do this, do I have enough shooting on the court? If I do this, do I have someone that can have the ball in their hands? Or if I do this, like, can I rebound the basketball? Because we haven't even talked about him defensively, but take
Mm-hmm.
my word for it, he's got a similar versatility to his game on that end where he can do a lot of different things. For Coach Wade, it's going to be, you know, those questions get answered a lot by Darrion Williams. Like, God, do I have enough shooting? Oh, what's cool. I got Darion that's out there that can still fill that role, or I need someone that can handle the ball. Well, he's still going to be out there and can do that. I don't have to worry about it. So I think that's just important. I got a question for you, James. Do you think, as you look at what will be Darrion Williams' only season with NC State, do you think we'll see a lot of similar things from a usage standpoint and from a numbers and counting stats perspective, or do you think we see something change there when he's with NC State?
It's interesting because I think the A&M or A&M, the Texas Tech roster he played with this year, you had JT Toppin, I believe, at the 5 for him,
Mm-hmm.
who really talented 5-man who could play off of Williams. And I think you have probably less from a usage standpoint around him that you potentially could have at NC State. Like that's where I'm interested to see how State uses this roster because Quadir Copeland could be a high usage player when he's on the court,
Mm-hmm.
right? Trey Holloman could be a high usage player. Allen Breed, we think is a player State could run offense for. You go and look at his usage rate last year at McNeese State when he was, the couple games he played under Wade, he was on the ball a ton.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't necessarily think he's going to still have that 27% usage rate. But I think you're going to see the efficiency kind of maybe skyrocket for him.
Yeah.
Right. Because he can kind of be used in a different way to where maybe you get a little more spot up from him, but then it turns into him attacking closeouts and creating for you. But like I said, it really doesn't matter. His floor is so high. And when you can say for a guy his best attribute is, on the women's side, right? We spent a last couple of years talking about how Madison Hayes was viewed as their glue piece,
Mm-hmm.
right? Their glue piece. But when your best player is a glue piece, like Darrion Williams, you could view as a glue piece. You mentioned it earlier.
Mm-hmm.
He's their best player. I mean, damn, that makes you. I think it gives you such a ceiling as a program because now you've got this guy who, like I said, can just do so many things. So I'm fascinated to see how they use him. We did the film room here on the offensive side, Jake, and I know for you, like I said, as we wrap this up, I'm sure you're high on him as well in that regard.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think it's just such a going to be a huge piece of NC State's identity. And the last thing I'll say about him is I think you mentioned it, kind of how he was able to help elevate JT Toppin's game and some other players on that Texas Tech roster. I think the effect is going to be really similar at NC State. Like you talk about Van Allen Lubin and a Paul Mbaya, like they're going to get easier looks because of him. You talk about a guy like Allen Breed who shoots the ball better when he's open. You know what I mean? Like everybody does, but specifically him on his stats. Like when he is shooting unguarded looks or lightly guarded looks, his efficiency is way higher. Well, meet Darrion Williams. Like you're going to get a lot more open looks with him on the court because the defense is going to have to react to him. And I mean, I think it's just, and that goes throughout the entire roster. Like NC State's pieces that they're expecting to grow both in efficiency and in counting stats, that job just became a whole lot easier because you have Darrion Williams on your side.
There you have it. We did our offensive film room breakdown on Darrion Williams. We're going to continue to crank these out here over the summer, and we hope you all enjoyed it. And like we said at the beginning, make sure you subscribe to the channel at Inside Pack Sports. Talk to you again here soon.